I'm Louie Blaze, and I'm representing the Fairhope Library, and I'm interviewing Dr. John McLaughlin on June the 25th, 2021. All of this is being conducted for the Fairhope Library for the Veterans Oral History Collection. Where were you living when you joined the military?
Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
Where's that?
Sun Prairie.
Oh, Sun Prairie.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Did you join the military, or were you drafted in the military?
I was drafted.
You was drafted.
Out of my practice, yeah.
Oh, out of your practice. You was already practicing
I was
physician.
practicing medicine, yeah.
Okay.
And
you were drafted.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
At the time, I didn't think it was a good idea.
Were you reluctant? Did you try to get out of it?
No, I didn't try to get out of it. No,
Yeah.
I figured I was subject to the rules.
Yeah. Were you married?
Yeah.
You was married at the time?
Yeah.
How'd your wife feel about it?
Well,
But more reluctant than you?
Yeah, I don't think she liked it either.
Just a little bit of background. You went to primary school in Wisconsin?
I did.
Grade school?
Yeah.
And
In Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Okay. How about high school?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee. Undergraduate?
Undergraduate, I went to, my family moved to California after I graduated from high school. And I attended a junior college first, and then I transferred to UCLA.
Oh, okay.
And I graduated from UCLA with a bachelor's degree, and then I went on to medical school at the same place.
UCLA Medical School.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you do any fellowships or anything?
No. I did a internship at Harvard General in Los Angeles, and then I did a residency at Contra Costa County Hospital.
What did you do your residency in?
Family medicine.
Okay.
I was a family medicine doc, yeah.
What can you tell us about when you went into the military? What did you went in as a commissioned officer, I assume?
Yeah, they drafted me as a captain, actually.
Oh, you went in as a captain?
Yeah.
When that happens, what kind of training do you get? Military training.
They sent me to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, and I was in a group of, I think, 150 physicians. Then we were in the first group that they put through modified basic training because they had drafted other physicians individually before, and they would freak out when they heard gunfire. So.
Yeah.
So they decided to and this was in 1966, they decided to put a whole group of physicians together and put us through a basic training.
How did that differ from enlisted basic training? Did y'all do the bivouacking and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was shorter than regular traditional basic training. But we did field exercises. We did we did some emergency surgery on goats. We learned how to do tracheostomies for emergency breathing, and that's about it, I guess. We didn't march as much because there was a group of physicians. We didn't care much about marching.
Yeah, I imagine. How long were you there?
I think we were there about 6 weeks in basic training.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
What were the instructors like? Were they physicians or?
They were military officers and physicians. Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah.
They really did you learn anything you didn't already know?
Well,
you being a practicing doctor already.
Yeah, well, I learned how to do tracheostomies, which I hadn't done before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You went into the Army?
Yeah.
Did you have a choice?
No.
They told you were going in.
Right.
Into the Army.
Right.
But some of your memories, you have any real outstanding memories about your training? It's in the 6 weeks. Anything crazy, strange happen, or?
I was. Well, I remember at the time I was going to. They had trench latrines.
No, it was in the service.
and they had, well, they did have toilets for when you had to have a bowel movement. But I was about to sit on a toilet, and there was I looked around. There was a scorpion sitting on the toilet. So fortunately, I saw him before I sat down.
Did y'all live in tents or barracks?
Tents.
Tents?
Yeah. Well, tents and barracks both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you finished up your training and got your bars, did you go? Where'd you go then?
They sent me to New Hampshire, of all places. They asked me where I was interested in going, and
back to California, huh?
I said, well, I had choice of New England or a couple other places, and I chose New England. I'd never been to New England.
Yeah.
And so they sent me to Manchester, New Hampshire, to an induction station. And,
was there a hospital there, or you?
no, it was just an entrance and examination station.
Okay.
So they put me in charge of doing physicals.
How long did you do that?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So you never got overseas, or?
Never got overseas.
You must have done a lot of physicals in 2 years.
A little over 13,000.
13,000 physicals in
Yeah.
2 years.
I was able to hire some private docs also to help me. So I would usually have one or two, depending on, if I had more than 30 inductees, I would have a chance to hire somebody, which I did.
Well, did they ever indicate that you might have to go to Vietnam?
No, actually they didn't. Once they sent me there, I was there for good, for the 2 years. It wasn't too bad. I learned how to ski and I learned how to fly fish.
How did, was there a lot of you doing this, or just a lot of doctors doing this?
They had to staff induction stations all around the United States. So they sent a bunch of us to these various.
Yeah. How many were at the place where you were working? How many partners?
Just me.
Just yourself?
Yeah.
So you really didn't get to develop any close relationships or made a lot of friends in the military, I guess, then, if you was pretty much by yourself. Right.
Well, they shipped. They would ship in college students from around New England, come in by bus, and, and so I would examine them, and and in those days, you weren't. They weren't allowed to induct people if they were gay.
Okay.
If they were homosexual.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to question them because they would claim to be homosexual, especially one college, Goddard College, I think it was in Vermont. And most of them would claim that they were gay because they knew that was an exclusionary thing.
How can you prove they weren't?
I couldn't prove it.
Yeah.
I just have to talk to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would confess that they weren't really, when I would talk to them.
That's very interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you do in your spare time? Ski, you said.
I learned how to ski. I formed a friendship with the elevator operator who was a fly fisherman, and he would take me fly fishing.
Fly fishing. So you were there for almost the whole 2 years,
Almost 2 years, yeah.
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 Did you live on base, or did you live in private quarters?
Well, there was no base there. So
that was just a deduction, so right.
So I had to rent a house, yeah.
Is it that much different being a military doctor than as a private doctor?
Well, yeah.
You have to take a lot of orders and.
Well, no, but you don't see the variety. I mean, you're doing physicals all the time. You don't take care of sick people. So I would moonlight with local physicians, and I would go there after work and work for them.
Oh, okay.
Seeing patients.
Did you? Were you licensed in that?
Yeah.
You had to get licensed in that state?
Yeah.
Is that a big deal?
No. That one?
No.
No.
Not if you go to UCLA, I guess. They probably have reciprocity with this to about everybody in the world.
I imagine.
That's some good training.
Yeah.
So when did you find out you were going to be getting out of the service? Did you have a date that you knew you were going to get out?
Yeah, I had a date that I knew I was going to get out. It was I think it was summer of '68 when I got out. Yeah.
You really looking forward to that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did it change any of your ideas about medicine, or
no?
Being in the military?
No, not really. I pretty much expected what I was going to have to do.
Yeah.
So it never really changed my opinion, actually. With one exception, I think. I couldn't get used to saying hello, sir, or to superior officers. I would just say, hi, how are you? Shake their hand,
Yeah.
And so I was reprimanded for that.
Did you remain a captain the whole time?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe for that reason.
Yeah.
So when you got out, you went right back to California, you went back in practice?
Well, I had been in practice in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. Okay.
Sun Prairie, yeah. But I decided not to do that. I decided to go back to California. And my partners weren't happy about that, of course. But I went to Orange County, California, and I went into practice in a large group there.
Okay, this 2 years in the military, did it give you any particular feelings about war? It was wartime, although you weren't in combat. It was actually a wartime. Did you?
Yeah.
Sitting these young, getting these young guys ready to go over it with.
Yeah. It really didn't change my opinion too much. It set me back in terms of practice, because I had to, I was rusty when I got out because of not treating people.
Well, anything you'd like to add, sir? Oh, commendations. Did you have any?
Yeah, I got the Army Commendation Medal.
How'd you get?
Well, I had no rejections from the service for people that I passed through as healthy.
Oh, okay.
And until the day I got the award. And there was a guy, a young guy, I'll never forget him. He was a very muscular football player.
Yeah.
But he had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means they have the hyperflexible joints.
Okay.
And he told me that he played football, so I figured, well, maybe he's okay to go in. And he convinced me, because he said, I really want to go in the service. I want to do this and that, and so he said, please don't reject me because of my flexible joints. And he showed me, and he had flexible shoulder joints, and so I passed him through. I knew I was taking a chance, but I passed him through. And and the day I got the award, they sent me a letter saying, you passed this guy through, and
the same day
he washed out. So I don't know whether he did it on purpose or whether it was accidental. But apparently when they did push-ups, he got some.
Couldn't do it. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, do you have any words of wisdom that you'd like to leave with us, to young guys that are, especially young doctors that are having to go serve?
Well, words of wisdom. Golly, I don't know about that. I never regretted my service, and I was happy to serve.
No.
A couple of years ago, my wife and I went to Vietnam. We visited Vietnam. It was very interesting. People there were very, very friendly to Americans, strangely enough.
Did y'all travel the whole country?
Yeah, we went to we were on a ship, and we docked at the bay in the North Vietnam, and I traveled by bus to North Vietnam, to the Hanoi, and I saw where Ho Chi Minh died, and where he was living.
Any evidence of a war-torn country like?
Actually, there were not many signs of visible signs of warfare. There was on the bus trip from the bay to Hanoi. It was about a 3-hour bus trip, and they stopped halfway in between at a facility where they employed people who had been wounded in the war, and who had been, I guess, children at that time, and had grown up with the situation there. And they did handicrafts, and they did wonderful paintings. and sculptures and things, which was very interesting to me. Yeah, that was it.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Doctor, sharing your experiences with us. Although you didn't get to see any combat, you served your country in a very, very important way.
Right.
Well, I thank you for coming in today and
welcome.
sharing your views and answering our questions. It's been very, very, very insightful.
Well,
thank you much, sir.
You're very welcome.